and most concerning for me, a more aggressive military posture. It is essential that we, as an international community, wake up to the challenges presented by China's manipulation of the long-standing international, all of us, for many decades.
Covering the conference for us from Munich is Joan Hull.
Well, the world's two are here in Munich. First, the United States Secretary of State Mike Pompeo starting gun essentially on what could be a new era of US defense and foreign policy. China as enemy number one, the Pentagon's top priority, said Mark Esper, because of its more aggressive military posturing in the region, its trade. Further afield, he said, we do not want conflict with China. We want China to play by the rules, abide by point in no uncertain terms that the US expects its allies to view things likewise, noting in particular Chinese telecom giant Huawei, some European allies, the UK in particular, in talks with Huawei to help build their 5G networks. Well, the US, of course, sees Huawei as a Trojan. It wasn't long before China had the opportunity here to respond. Wang Yi, the foreign minister, saying China will not follow the seek hegemony in the world, but rather choose a policy of peaceful development, working for shared prosperity. And he had this very pointed response to those US comments.
Before I came here, my colleagues, American senior officials said, and they have been once again repeating their smears and criticism of China. It is because I don't want to waste our time responding to each and everything they've said. What I want to say is that all of these accusations are based on facts.
So China emerging here, presenting itself certainly has been built and practiced for decades, and the very thing that many abandoned.
So here's Marwan Bashara, our senior platform really for people to say what they want, but he says that in Munich, in Europe, there's a very specific audience here, isn't there?
And I think the statements should not be read, seen, or understood outside this context, that this is directed to Europe, not even to China per se, to the US public, to the American public, because there's nothing that we've heard new from the Trump. What sort of a strategy are they envisioning, a new strategy to deal with China? Because we all know that they've abandoned the strategy. Obama's pivot to Asia and the Trans-Pacific Partnership that was abandoned by the Trump administration, two strategies that were meant to contain China militarily and economically. So what we hear here today is basically also similar to what we heard from China, while it should be underwriting the international order with undermining it. And that's why the Trump administration is upping the ante. But where? Well, it's towards Europe, because it wants Europe to get with the program and get behind the United States. And when it comes to Huawei or when it comes to anything else, the United States feels that Europe must support the United States. But what we've heard from, like President Macron and the German president, is there's a sense in Europe that the United States, or the Trump administration, has been taking it for a ride, been taking advantage of it, and that Europe needs to be more united independently of the United States, including on question of China, to incorporate Huawei in its technology or artificial intelligence or what have you. So we have a bit of nuance, a bit of I would say disagreement between Europe and the United States on this issue.